No, I think when I pulled up, I think I could still smell the manure on my tires.
Yeah, fenders. That's the one thing. Fenders are a must.
Fenders are a must in Amish country. All right, we'll go with that one for sure.
Yeah, so that's one definitely enhancement that you want to consider.
Oh. So, Steve, you were diagnosed with Parkinson's disease a number of years ago. How long ago was that?
24 years. I was 24 when I was diagnosed. Now 48, so half my life.
Wow. Yeah, half your life, 24 years ago. Yeah, you do not look 48. But
Appreciate that.
anyway, so speaking of that, not looking 48, you've had a pretty active lifestyle even since you've been diagnosed. How is it that you've stayed that active? And does that staying active like that help you with the Parkinson's?
Helps immensely. We've done many tests that have shown scientifically that exercise helps slow the progression down. I've had a little procedure that is in my favor to make me better than what some of the others are. There's an MRI focused ultrasound, which was done in the University of Maryland as a trial study back in 2015, which really rolled back the clock.
Wow.
But to help retain that, exercise has been a key factor in that. Whether it's golfing, bowling, cycling, whatever. My motto is if you keep moving, you'll stay moving.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with Parkinson's, there's a dark side to Parkinson's. A lot of depression, a lot of people that they just kind of give up. And you can't give up. If you give up, you're done. You're going to be buried into a wheelchair and you'll be stuck for life. And once you get to that point, it really isn't very reversible.
Interesting. So, cycling kind of always been a part there, but I know there were some things, because we've talked about this before, that kind of triggered that, movement from the two-wheel bike to the trike. But yeah, can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I was riding a two-wheel mountain bike and a road bike up until this past year. And last year I had an incident where I went over the handlebars on my road bike, hit a rut in the parking lot that was just wide enough for my tire to fit in.
I think we crossed that parking lot today.
Yeah, and the wheel got stuck and I went over the bars and kind of did a scorpion.
Yeah. Oh.
And then this past year I was on my mountain bike when I fell, just kind of couldn't get out of my pedals fast enough. And I really was kind of depressed because I thought, I'm done cycling now. And with Parkinson's, you do realize there are certain points in your life that you're going to have to give some things up. It's a gift that keeps on taking.
Yeah. No.
And so my wife said, why don't you look into the trike? And I wasn't thinking of what we see through TerraTrike. I was thinking mom and pop, grandma basket in the front, with a little dog in the front. And just, I didn't think they were cool enough.
Yeah.
And then when I started looking into these recumbents, I was like, wow, these are cool. I could really sport one of these. And so I started looking into it, tried a couple out. And then that's when I contacted you. I found your website because what I wanted to do is I wanted to find somebody who was reasonably close that I could get on a professional level with and figure out what we need for the Parkinson's community.
Well, so I'm glad we connected, but I think with that, I'm kind of curious, what do you notice as far as the biggest difference between the recumbent trike and the bike?
Bike, I got a bad back to start with. And then, run a bike for a couple hours, my lower back would be on fire.
Yeah.
And I also had knee issues where I had surgery on my knee a couple of years ago. And it seemed like the motion of being more upright hurt more.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm 6'6". So finding a tall enough frame, it was difficult, with poor balance on top of it. It was kind of a tragic mix.
Yeah. It's interesting because you talk about your lower, or your back at least, I can certainly attest to that too. There is no way that I can ride as long as I ride even though I still have some diamond frame bikes and I enjoy riding them. There's no way I can ride as long on a bike as I can on a trike. Just not going to happen. My lower back will just not put up with it anymore. And I think in some regards, in some things, I'm actually able to not just ride longer, but maybe a little bit quicker too. So
yeah. Well, we tried doing a 50-mile ride. It was actually a century, but we made it 52 miles. It was down in Carmel, Indiana, which has got some pretty hilly terrain.
Yeah,
I think Indiana's pretty flat, but there's some hills. And we had to go down a gravel road on a hill that was probably about a 10 or 12 degree grade. So by the time we were going down there about halfway down, I'm looking down and I'm doing 38 miles per hour. I had such a grip on my bars because of fear of falling and loose gravel that my arms went numb. So I had to tap out at 52 miles because I couldn't feel my arms are numb from my elbow to my fingertips.
Yeah.
We were squeezing so hard. And that was a bummer because I wanted to try to make it a century because I thought I was young enough and in shape enough to do it. But then after riding a recumbent, I don't have the back issues. I don't have saddle sore. Yeah. I don't have numbness in my arms, and I've been able to ride 42 miles without a problem.
I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm kind of curious because I know that you bowl. We've talked about that because that's part of you have a bowling league team, it looks like, with the Michael J. Fox Foundation. Yeah. How does that work with your Parkinson's?
Well, as I said, my balance isn't that great. And the more things you do to help improve your balance or stay even keel is going to be beneficial. So, and the bowling community is kind of like the cycling community. It's pretty tight knit. And a lot of people have respect for me because I'm still out there doing it after all this time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And I found that with going to CycloCon, I found that it's a very similar community. It's like almost a family of people.
Yeah. That's cool. Is it the same in golf?
No.
Just curious.
A lot more trash talking.
I guess so. Yeah, we don't keep score when we're riding recumbent trikes.
No, it's a lot harder to cheat on a recumbent bike than it is a golf course. You can't just.
He says I keep score. I don't know that I keep score.
No, but speaking of golf, somebody asked me about motorized trikes.
Yeah,
I said that's kind of like golfing and kicking the ball to improve your lie. That's great. Not enough fidelity, I guess. It has its purpose. But
you use an electric golf cart, so come on.
But you can drink and smoke while you're golfing or bowling, and becoming not so much.
Not part of that community so much when you're out doing it. No. So we just got done riding, 9 miles?
Yeah.
But you do other stuff on the recumbent too, rather than just go out and go for a ride. Do you go to get groceries? Do you?
I personally don't. My wife does. She's at the rack.
Wait. Well, no. Wait. You don't go get groceries, but your wife does.
I don't have a rack. I don't have a rack and bag on the back. She wanted that specifically because she wanted to be able to go down to the store and buy some small amounts of groceries and they'll bring them home.
All right, I'll cut you some slack.
It's not the same. I'm not going to put a rack on mine at some point. In the small community that we're in Middlebury, Indiana, there's a lot of local restaurants and stores, and there's a hardware store. There's a couple of restaurants, barbecue place, ice cream shops, and all riding distance. Well, why would you drive when you can just ride?
Yeah.
The weather is decent, and the weather most time is pretty temperate here.
I think that's the cool thing when we were talking about that, like just small town life. It's so different than in Grand Rapids. There's so much more traffic. There is, we're doing a good job, I think, of getting some lane divisions and stuff like that. But when you get into a smaller town, the opportunities to get out and ride just to do your errands and stuff, I think that'd be pretty cool. Plus, you have such a great trail. So you stay pretty fit. You're pretty thin. We talked about your high metabolism. Do you have any special diet or anything?
protein can block some of the receptors in the brain that helps regulate dopamine.
We talked a little bit about this. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So, like, if I do a protein shake or whatever, I need to wait like 30 minutes or to an hour before I take my medication. Otherwise, it might block part of it and it won't function the same way.
Interesting.
So, as far as dietary restrictions, some people with Parkinson's they'll go vegan or they'll go low carb or some sort of specialty diet. I'm not one of those people. I'm too big of a foodie to give up all that stuff. But you do minimize drinking. Alcohol affects your balance normally as a normal person. With Parkinson's is even worse. But I'll have a drink now and then, but nothing more than one or two a week.
Yeah, I have to admit, even though it's like affected a number of different individuals in my family, from my dad to brother-in-laws and uncles and stuff, it's interesting how little I really know about it other than the effects. And I think, for me, just personally, that's one of the things I think is kind of cool hooking up with you, is seeing someone that is so active and just continues to just, push back against it. It's really cool.
You don't fight, you're gonna.
Yeah.
You can't flee. You can't run away from it. Once you have it, you have it. Until we find a cure, and that's what we're trying to do.
So speaking of that, with that association with the Michael J. Fox Foundation, just going to put it out there, if someone watching this video, if it's something that we post and that sort of thing, is there anything that you would say that they should do as far as connecting with them if someone wanted to in some way help the organization out or anything?
There's a Tour de Fox, which is a bike ride. Right now it's only in California. It was around all throughout the States before COVID. COVID, as you know, put a damper on a lot of activities. And I think it was only in Sonoma Valley this year.
Yeah.
But I know
it could happen back in September.
We're in conversations, with the foundation to hopefully bring something maybe here more local to us and between you and us in the Grand Rapids, southwestern Lower Michigan, northern Indiana community.
That would be cool to do.
Some sort of ride, and then we'd be happy to talk to anybody about it. Encourage people that your comments are. You don't have to give up your dream.
Yeah.
I always loved the outdoors, and when I thought I wasn't going to be riding anymore, it really saddened me. I was not ready to give that up. And getting on the trike just gave me that freedom I had before, and now I don't have to worry about balance.
So back to the trike again, is there anything that you've done on your Terra trike that was different than, I would just say, stock?
On mine, not really. Other than decals that say Steve Fox on it. But some people might want to use the bar assists. Definitely, the hydraulic brakes are nice, but the manual brakes are more user-friendly for a Parkinson's person because you can lock them and you don't have to worry about rubber bands. And it's a little bit more convenient.
There's some companies out there right now that have addressed that locking brake lever function of the hydraulic brakes, even with having the ability to direct both those hydraulic cables into one lever for people that have compromised use of one arm. So that's something I think that you'll see continue to, people will continue to work on that and develop that. I noticed, do you have a headrest on yours?
Yes. That's another thing that is very important, I think, because fatigue is very common in Parkinson's, and when I start to get tired or a little fatigued, I can lean back and just, it supports my neck and takes away that head bobbing feeling.
Yeah. The other thing I was kind of curious about, because I know that from us talking about mountain bikes and stuff, I think you've used SPD pedals before where you've flipped in and out of them. Do you think you'll ever put those on your trike, or will you just stay with the heel swing?
I'll probably stay with the heel swing because we riders, like we were talking earlier, so much in the community where we'll there's like a hometown harvest that we have every year. There's a 4th of July. A lot of local events that we go through and we walk around. And I don't want to carry a set of shoes with me to walk around. And you don't want to walk around in the cliffs.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
Fair enough. Yeah.
If I was going to do a race, I would probably switch the pedals.
So what if it was a much longer thing, like just a organized century? Do you think you'd put them on for something like that?
Probably. I considered for that. But it's something where we're doing more of a social type gathering. That's what we use ours a lot for. Is going around town locally and communities like Shipshewana here, where it's a very bike friendly community with a high level Amish around here, as we saw in the right here.
Yeah, I hope we get to see more horses and buggies as we go back. I don't think we got enough footage of that.
I'm sure we'll see some of it. Hopefully we don't have to ride on the roads that they're on.
No, I think when I pulled up, I think I could still smell the manure on my tires.
Yeah, fenders, that's the one thing. Fenders are a must.
Fenders are a must in Amish country. All right, we'll go with that one for sure.
Yeah, so that's one definitely enhancement that you want to consider.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having us here today for a ride. That was awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Easy 10-mile ride out to Shipshewana and back. Yeah. So what's next for you?
Oh, what's next? Good question. Well, as you know firsthand, we're trying to get Territory into the Michael J. Fox Foundation as a fellow business. Or, I don't know how you want to put it, but as an associate member, that we can hopefully get more trikes into people's hands that have disabilities such as Parkinson's.
Yeah, for sure. How about you personally? Any other long rides this year?
Depends on the weather. If the weather's decent, I'll probably ride. I'd like to ride about 20 to 30 miles on a weekend.
Yeah.
And ride some during the week. We've been really blessed. The weather has been just amazing.
Oh, jeez, what a fall we've had.
It's 76 degrees in mid-October. We're in Indiana.
Yeah, what a fall it's been.
And you guys in Michigan, it's been really temperate also.
Yeah, I was trying to see if there was any last Century or Color Tour or anything like that to jump in at the Indeer. I think we've got one more up in Grand Rapids, but yeah, the weather's got to hold out. I'm not interested in going out on a cold, rainy day.
No, me neither. And the cold weather makes my tremors all the worse, so no need to emphasize that.
Yeah.
But, no, just common regular riding.
Okay.
Love the Pumpkin Vine being so close and such a nice trail. It's hard to not want to go out there and ride.
Yeah. Well, I guess thanks again then for having us here for the day. Mm-hmm. It was enjoyable. It was awesome. Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, that's it.